Okay, but tell me honestly, how do you just move on after that finale? Because I tried and yeah, it's not happening. That last episode didn't just end a season, it left everything hanging in this tense, emotional limbo that keeps replaying in your head like a scene you can't pause. So let's talk about it, because there's a lot to unpack, and somehow it all feels even bigger the more you think about it. The moment that really stayed with me wasn't the grand drama or the big confrontations, it was the quiet fear, that split second where it genuinely felt like George might not make it. For a show that thrives on elegance and control, that moment stripped everything down to something painfully real. And Bertha, for once, she wasn't calculating or composed. She was just a woman terrified of losing the one person who actually anchors her. And that changes things. It has to. But here's where it gets complicated, because even after everything, after the fear, the vulnerability, the fight to hold on, George still pulls away. And that's the part that doesn't sit right. It's like we're watching two people who clearly still matter deeply to each other, but are somehow drifting in opposite directions anyway. And you can't help but wonder, is this pride? Is it hurt? Or is it something deeper that's been building all along? And then there's Gladys, because whether we like it or not, she's right at the center of all this tension. Her marriage didn't just distance her parents, it exposed cracks that were already there. But now, she seems okay. Not just okay, settled. Maybe even happy. And that changes the entire equation. Because if George starts to realize that the life he feared for her isn't actually destroying her, then who does he blame now? That's where things get messy. Because it's a lot easier to point fingers than to face your own choices. At the same time, while all this emotional chaos is unfolding, the show quietly gives us something softer, something that almost feels like hope. Marion and Larry. Their story has been this slow, frustrating push and pull, especially with that whole ring situation, but somehow they find their way back. And it doesn't feel rushed or forced, it feels earned, like two people who finally understand what they mean to each other. And now you can feel it building, that next step, that moment we've been waiting for. But even then, there's that tiny voice in your head asking, is it really going to be that simple? Because this show never gives happiness without a cost. And if you're looking for a relationship that feels strong but still surrounded by tension, Peggy and William are right there. Their connection feels solid, grounded, but the world around them isn't making it easy, especially not his mother, who, let's be honest, is not backing down anytime soon. If anything, the resistance is only going to grow, and that's what makes their story so compelling. It's not about whether they care about each other, we already know they do. It's about whether that's enough to survive everything pushing against them. Then there's Oscar. Honestly, his journey hit differently this time. Losing someone like that doesn't just hurt, it changes you. And for a while it felt like he was completely lost in that grief. But now there's this small, fragile possibility of something new. Not a replacement, not a fix, but a chance to rebuild. And you can see it in the way he carries himself now, still wounded, but trying. And sometimes that's the most powerful kind of strength. And I have to say, out of all the stories, the one that quietly steals your attention is Jack and Bridget. There's something so genuine about them. No grand schemes, no social games, just two people slowly finding their way toward each other. It feels real in a way that cuts through all the glamour. And honestly, you find yourself rooting for them in a different way. Not for drama, not for twists, just for something simple and true to actually last. But here's the thing. All of these stories feel like they're standing on the edge of something bigger, like everything we've seen so far was just the setup. The real consequences, the real shifts, they're still coming. And that's what makes the wait so frustrating, because you know the next chapter is going to change everything. So now we're left here, connecting the dots, replaying moments, asking questions that don't have answers yet. Will George and Bertha find their way back, or is this the beginning of something breaking for good? Will love actually win for the couples we're rooting for, or is the show setting us up for heartbreak? And most importantly, how much more are these characters willing to lose before they finally figure things out? And yeah, waiting isn't easy, but if this finale proved anything, it's that the story is far from over, and when it comes back, it's not going to hold back. So tell me, What moment stayed with you the most? And what do you think is really coming next? Drop your thoughts below because I know I'm not the only one overthinking every single detail right now. And if you're just as hooked as I am, don't forget to like and subscribe because we're definitely not done talking about this.